So instead of being the typical cocktail waitress, putting all that money into my face or body or handbags, shoes, all the above, I went and I got an education with it.
You ready?
I am.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Brian Orr with the Twist Life podcast. And on with me today is Jackie McMahan of Finesse Catering and Events out in Las Vegas. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. How's Vegas today?
It's actually chilly.
Okay.
We've had a couple really cold days, but it's to be expected. It's still winter, right?
It's still winter. When people hear this, it might be August for all I know once I get production done. But for now.
That's true.
Yeah, no,
Where
it's all
are you
good.
Located at?
I'm in Charlotte now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's nice there, huh?
I'm sorry?
It's nice over there right now, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. We've had some nice weather. I just got back from Switzerland. It was snowing the whole time.
Oh, wow. That's what she said. She said you were DJing. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Part of the Twist Life, part of my Twist Life anyway.
Yeah, right.
From what I understand, first of all, let me give you guys this. I've stalked Jackie's Instagram, and not for what you would think right off the bat if you're watching this. The stuff that you put out on your catering and events is absolutely incredible. Like,
thank you.
I couldn't even imagine I don't even have a direct question on here, but like, I'm going to ask you the direct question now off script. Like,
Sure.
How long does it take for you to make like one cucumber look like the fucking Leaning Tower of Pizza or something? Like, cause that's what it looks like. Wait till you see this Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, we love food. And so, it's just adults playing with food, really, when it comes down to it. Each bite is obviously has to be completely uniform. So we do take our time. We like to put out a really good product. So we take our time, but it's just fun. It's art on a plate and it's so freaking delicious. So
yeah. Oh
really,
my God.
really
this
nice.
stuff. Wait till I'm not even going to tell you guys her Instagram handle yet, because you're going to tune out of the podcast. And once you start looking through this, so I'll tell you at the end. That's really, really cool. So you're in
Thank
Vegas.
you so much.
You're in
Yes.
Vegas. I lived in Vegas for a few years, as many people know. I think we crossed paths, but not like to the extent of, getting to know each other or friendship or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of things I'm going to dive into. You're actually my first Vegas resident guest.
Woo!
All right.
I love it.
So let's talk a little bit about Vegas. Have you always been in Vegas? What were you doing through your years in Vegas?
So I've actually been in Vegas now for about 10 years. So I'm pretty much a local at this point. You know how you hit that 10-year mark. I moved out here for a guy. I mean, that's mostly why women move to another state, correct?
All right.
So my now ex-husband, let's see. So I moved out here with no anticipation on anything I want to do. You know how it is. 10 years ago, you're a kid. You're kind of still figuring life out. You don't really know what it is you want to do, but there's something grand and great out there. So I started working as a cocktail waitress in the nightclubs, and you're making this insane amount of money. You're making $1,000 plus a night. It's just ridiculous. So, I'm making all this money. I was able to pay for everything I've ever done in cash, which is amazing. But then, I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I'm looking around. I'm looking at, these waitresses and this lifestyle. I'm like, God, there's just something so much better out there. Plus, this industry has a shelf life. Can't do it forever. So instead of being the typical cocktail waitress, putting all that money into my face or body or handbags, shoes, all the above, I went and I got an education with it. I went to the Art Institute of Las Vegas, and I did 2 other business ventures before solidifying Finesse. So I've always had the entrepreneurial mind. I've never wanted to work for anybody but myself. So everything I've done has just been really driven towards that. So that's what I did. I actually partnered with a girl I met in culinary school, and we started Finesse, and it just blew up. We're actually celebrating our 2 years this month.
Awesome. So, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's funny, when I was in Vegas, I have a financial background, and as I got to know more and more people in Vegas, I was actually working with an accountant out there trying to put together a financial advisory business, which I left Vegas
Right.
before I ever put into play, but for
Yeah.
that exact reason, like for our clients to be cocktail waitresses or service industry in general, because there's so much cash that
Right.
comes in and people are so financially illiterate.
Stupid.
And
Oh,
I think that's it for anybody listening. If you're in Vegas or any major service industry, especially Vegas, set up some financial advisory for the people who are in that
yeah.
business, because really, I mean, it's rare. You are a rare exception to take it and make it into a business.
Yeah. They live this lifestyle and it's okay. It's a great, fun lifestyle, but there's, no longevity or no realness to it. And it ends. It has to end at some point. So be proactive and be smart and know that the end is near. So
Mm.
do something smart with your money. And that's exactly what I did. That was my mental process the entire time I was in it. I was networking. I was making great contacts. I, was kind
Saved
to
your
everybody,
money.
but that's just my nature. Yep. And I just did what was good for me.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice. Where are
Yeah.
you from originally?
I'm from upstate New York, a town called
Uh,
Rochester.
I know Rochester. I'm from
Rochester, New
Brooklyn.
York. Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah. I know, I know.
Yeah.
Um, so, you talked about how you got to setting up Finesse. Can you dive a little bit deeper into why? You mentioned the lack of longevity in the cocktail industry. So, what is your
Yeah.
why for your business?
Well, okay. So things that people don't know about me is I started entertaining when I was 7 years old. So I started with Halloween. I would make these grand haunted houses, and then I would do like a game and food on the other side of the room. The lights would go on, and everything was it was just a big party. And I started doing it, like I said, at 7 years old for my cousins. I was the eldest of all my cousins. And then also for the neighborhood kids. Every year, I started incorporating new holidays like Easter and Valentine's Day and things like that. And then as you get older, you get more refined. So, yeah. So when I moved out to Vegas, it's the culinary capital. I mean, I'm telling you, anything you want, desire, can eat, can imagine, you can have here. So, plus the diverse cultures, it's such a melting pot of culture. With that being said, um, yeah, it was an easy choice for me to decide to go into culinary school because I had to hone in on my talent. Like I said earlier, when you're in this world, nobody knows what they want to do. No one has it all figured out. People are always like, "How did you figure it out?" I'm still learning. I mean, yes,
Right.
Vanessa is amazing, and I see this flourishing, but we're still learning every day. So I hate when people feel so discouraged because they're like, "What? I don't know what it is I want to do." It'll come to you, and when you get that thought in your mind, you have to run with it. You heard of the 5-second rule, correct?
Mm-hmm. But tell us.
So it's not when you drop food on the ground, you can eat it. So
Yeah.
the 5-second rule, what it actually means is when you have a thought in your mind, a thought provoking anything, you have to run with it because after 5 seconds, that thought will go away. Think about when you're driving, you're in the shower. It's when you're doing your most humble, artistic thinking, right? Well, if you don't continue on that thought, it just goes away and it's just another thought. So when you have these great, grand ideas, run with it. Grab a piece of paper, write it down, and then see if you can really make this grand idea into something that actually works. And that's kind of what I did. And our food so we're a luxury brand catering company.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were saying, our food is all beautiful, artistic bites on a little plate. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. I always loved going to like tasting style restaurants and I just love the artsiness of the bite.
Yeah.
One or two bites is enough.
You talked about running with your ideas and stuff, but they're not all successful, are they?
No,
Have
no.
you experienced some not so successful things on your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I right after culinary school, I met an ex NFL pro football player. His name was Jerome Sapp. He had this idea to do a meal prep company. It was called Health Binge. He brought me on. I created the menu for him. I was I don't know. I literally I hated it. I
Mm.
hated there was no creativity to it except for when I made the initial menu. We had too many items on the menu that it was too easy to have waste. The business faltered after a year. So it was like a lot of heart and soul that went into that and for it to turn into nothing after a year. So that was really disheartening.
Do you think that was because it was someone else's idea
I do. It was
and you
someone
kind
else's
of
idea.
jumped on board?
Yes, absolutely. So I started another catering company. It was called Livy, but I was helping him out in the midst. I was starting this catering company. So I kind of put my dream on hold to make his come to fruition. And when it failed, I was like, that's it. I'm diving head into the catering scene. And I did. And, I was getting great positive feedback. So it was just something that was working, but not enough. My girlfriend, her name's Genevieve. She is now my business partner. She started contacting me to, get pricing and things like that. Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? She called me up and was like, hey, can you help me? Can you help me with one event? And I was like, sure. So I went in and I helped her with an event. We had this like insane chemistry right off the bat. We held a meeting the next day and we created Finesse, and we have been doing amazing since then.
Wow.
So it takes time, it takes failing and, money to be lost,
Right.
but, when you figure it out, you figure it out.
So you talked about doing meal prep in there. Can you?
Yeah.
God, it's such a thing. Well, let's tie this all in, because if when people see your Instagram and look you up, they're going to see you in the gym constantly. So
Yes.
talk quickly about how fitness inspires your life, as well as your culinary choices and meal prepping and that sort of
Sure.
thing.
So I have to stay fit. We live in a day and age where being aesthetically beautiful is important. Unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is. So, I don't necessarily work out to be the buffest person in the world. I work out so I can eat a lot of good food and drink wine. Let's just be honest. That is my motivation. But it's really just balance. You can eat indulgence, but do it in moderation. So I do cook on the healthier side for myself. Obviously, the catering food, I can do anything. If you want all healthy inspired meals, bites, I can do that for you. So there is no limitation to what Finesse has to offer or what I can do for somebody.
So you did meal prep for a company, and we know that fitness is very important in your life, as is many other
Yeah.
people's lives nowadays. And a lot of people are always looking to try to meal prep for themselves at home. Do you have
Yep.
maybe like 2 or 3 action steps or
Yeah.
guidelines for that you can tell people how to meal prep and stay with it?
Yes. So you're definitely going to want to pick your protein, your starch, and your veggie, but give yourself variety. If you're going to have these bland, boring meals on a constant, you're going to stray. You're going to crave that chocolate, or you're going to crave that unhealthy fat. So definitely give yourself variety. Pick 2 different proteins, 2 different starches, 3 different veggies, incorporate it, do different things, add like healthy sauces, like a really good healthy pesto or green goddess, like, spice up your food so it's not boring on your palate. That's the best way I can describe it. Keep it healthy, keep it clean, but keep it fun and give yourself variety.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Just the things you say sound, just mentioning sauces, I'm like, man, I'm hungry already. I mean,
I
okay,
tend to do that to people.
so my podcast is called The Twist Life. As most listeners will know by now, it's because of DJ Twist and how many years and my life and so on and so forth. But so many people have their own like definition or version of what twist life means to them. And the way that I look at it is sort of twofold. One being a twist in your life historically that changed you or your mindset or something that happened
Yeah.
that put you in a different direction, a pivot or something. And I
Yeah.
think we talked about that when you met Genevieve, perhaps like when you
Yes.
guys got together, that totally
Yes.
took you from going one direction to
It
another.
did. Yeah.
And then the second way that I look at it is sort of like on a day-to-day basis, like how I twist life on a day-to-day basis. So what's unique about me and the choices that I make and how I do things differently than everybody else.
Yeah.
So in your life, how would you say that on a day-to-day basis, how do you twist life?
Oh my God, I'm going to sound so boring right now, you guys. All right. So,
well, it could be personal, it could be professional. What do you do differently than other people?
okay. Well, I try really hard to keep somewhat of a social life, but a healthy social life. Like, I'll do like date nights with my girlfriends. We'll pick a restaurant. I actually have a list of a bunch of, a note where I have all these restaurants that I want to hit. So, I try to like give myself, you know, tasks to do, I guess, that are, healthy, good fun. Plus, when I go to a dining restaurant, like I get ideas. I
Mm,
see a dish and I'm like, oh, how can I make this into a really beautiful small bite for the night?
right.
So it's pure education. I love making these grace tables. So one of my new things right now is playing with like these cutouts. I know it sounds so cheesy right now, but like, making fruit and veggies into flowers and hearts and cute shapes. It like gives such a pop to these platters. And I don't know, right now, it's just such a thing I'm into right now. I know I'm boring you guys.
No, this is fun. It's part of what the whole point of this podcast is, that I'm talking to so many different people that do so many different things. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the idea. Like, I'm recording a real estate agent next. And last week I had
Yeah.
a talent, a publicist on, like
Oh,
different
okay.
people doing all different
Yeah.
things. And that's kind of the idea. I'm even twisting life, like with the Twist Life podcast. It's going to be
Yeah.
different. And I don't want people to hear the same thing every single week, because like you said about meal prep, like that gets boring.
It's
So we're going to
boring.
introduce people to new
Yep.
ideas, new professions, new
Yep.
people.
That's
So
wonderful.
please, you're not boring anybody. Just keep on keeping on. We're all listening. We're all tuned in.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like if you guys make yourself a list, like literally just open up your phone and go to your notes. Just enter like any kind of restaurant, any kind of activity you want to do, whether it's one of the indoor rock climbings or something of that nature. Again, it's that 5-second rule. If you have a fun idea, jot it down, put it somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to forget about it. And that's just kind of what happens. We're all guilty of that.
How critical are you of other people's food?
Oh, God, terrible. And I try not to be. It's really hard dining with me sometimes. Now, I will give my opinion on what I think could be better in a dish. Like, oh, this needs more salt and acid. But, like, no matter what, at the end of the day, everyone's got their own creativeness. Everyone has a different palate. They were all raised with, different styles of cooking and food and techniques. So some people love that bland stuff because that's kind of how their mom cooked. So they find comfort in the foods like that. So everyone's so diverse on the palate. And that's what makes catering and food kind of hard because, you're making a dish that you might find to be absolutely superb and perfect. But then you have that person's like, oh, this is awful, so it's really hard, making everybody happy on their palate. So that's something that I always strive to do. And that's why I have such variety of food.
That's an interesting point, because, when you're dealing with catering, from what I know, is like whoever's hosting the party is selecting what they think everyone else is going to enjoy, or what
And
they
what they
just
like.
selfishly want to enjoy. Right. And I've
Guilty of it.
actually,
Yeah.
I deal with that a lot in nightlife, like DJing.
Yeah.
It's, the promoter or the club owner will say like, hey, we want you to play like this thing or this type of thing. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden the crowd comes in and they don't want to hear that thing. They want to hear something a little different.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in DJing, I have a little bit more of the ability to switch on the fly, right? Because I can easily just
Right.
change to the next song. Once all your stuff is
Right.
out there, you're out there.
It's
So what do
that's
you
it.
what do you do when you're preparing? So you're listening to the host or whoever's hiring you,
Yeah.
but you're
Yep.
anticipating people having different palates and that.
Oh,
How do you
always.
actually prepare for that and present your food in a way that might have, not alienate somebody, or not so much not alienate, but that everybody would at least enjoy something?
Right. So what I do is, I'm the person that, makes all the calls. So I get the clients on the phone. I really try to figure out what it is they're looking for, what kind of guests they're having. From there, I can really determine what kind of menu I think would suit them best. We always give suggestions according to the client and the genre style of event that they're having. And that's the beautiful thing about catering is that not one event is ever the exact same. So I'm never bored. It's always a fun, exciting, it's a 50th birthday party and they want all silvers and disco balls. And then it's a baby shower and I have to do everything all pink and girly and cute. So it's so fun for me because it keeps me creative, and chefs love being creative. That's what we do. But yeah, so I get clients on the phone. I figure out what it is they want, what their guests are going to want, and we create the menu from there. And we've never had a problem. And that's probably because I do that before we go into anything. And
Yeah, being prepared. Another
you have to be
important tip
prepared.
that I'll take away from this when I
Yeah.
do my infographics of the
Yeah.
always
I
be
mean, well,
prepared for
nowadays,
anything.
yeah, well, now there's like 90 different diets. Yeah, there's keto, there's vegan, there's vegetarian, there's pescatarian. I mean, there is just such a variety of likes and dislikes these days when it comes to food. The gluten thing, you know? So,
Yeah.
you really have to talk with your client about every option and be prepared.
Yeah, doing your homework. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I can relate to as well. Like traveling
Yep.
different cities, different countries. Like you have to do your homework to know. You can't just show up in Switzerland and play what you played last night in Atlanta. Like it's not. It just doesn't
Right.
work the same, you know. So you have to be prepared.
Exactly.
That's fun.
You
It's wild
do.
when you really dive into things, right? How much things actually align with each other. These different
Oh,
professions and businesses.
absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So, what are you thinking about what's coming next for Jackie? What's coming next for Finesse? What's happening in your personal life, or you don't have to get too personal, but your fitness, whatever, as well as your company.
Yeah.
What's the future looking like?
So the future for myself personally is I really want Finesse to be the best. Now, when you own a business, you're doing the admin, you're in the kitchen, you're doing the events. It's really hard to let your business grow when you're so submerged in it. So currently we're, grooming employees to be able to do things that we do. So we don't have to constantly be in the kitchen as much. We could do the marketing, all the admin. We can, grow Finesse. Because right now we're called Finesse Catering and Events, but we haven't really dove into the event side of it thus far. And that's a good thing. And I'll tell you why, because that's where Health Bench failed. Is he dove right into a brick and mortar and then into all these gyms and then gyms in other states. We hadn't perfected our brick and mortar. We hadn't perfected our brand yet. So you have to perfect that before you take on new tasks, new ventures. Otherwise, you're just going to crash and burn.
Mm.
So
Yeah, master one thing.
Master your one craft. And then from there, since that's already mastered and perfected, now you can bring new things on. So that's where I see Finesse going, as we want to take over the event side as well. This way we're one-stop shop for clients. We do have our liquor license, which is huge. There's only 2 or 3 catering companies in all of Nevada that have a liquor license.
Wow.
We're one of them. Yeah, so it's huge. So, I mean, we are literally a one-stop shop once we get onto the event side. So that's the growth. That's where I see myself and Finesse evolving.
That's great. So like how many people would you be able to cater an event for or host an event for or curate an event, I guess, whatever that next level would be.
Yeah.
What size of an event are you looking at?
Oh God, we want to be in the thousands.
1,000 people or in the
1,000.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep, 1,000 to 1,000. Yeah. I mean, we want to become so big. I mean, because that's the infrastructure that we're looking to do. We want to take on these big events. I mean, think about all the conventions we have coming to Las Vegas. Like, attack that market.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you a question about your partnership. How have you guys, it sounds like everything's going great. Have you noticed maybe, or some tips maybe you can give to people on how to decide which partner is responsible for what? Are you guys like complete opposites? Are you exactly the same?
We are. No, we are complete opposites. And that is why we work. If you have a business partner that's the same as you, you're going to conflict and butt heads on way too many levels. So what makes Genevieve and I work really well is I'm the yin to her yang. So we view things completely differently. So that's what makes everything kind of come together so perfectly and beautifully. And we've never talked about what we're best at. It's kind of just known by work ethic. And like, I'll step up and, for example, I'm more extrovert and she's introvert. So she isn't comfortable talking and doing all those things where I am. So hence why I'm the one that makes all the calls to the clients. I solidify the events. She's the one that's great behind the computer. She is incredibly brilliant. She created all of our website on her own, no web design practice whatsoever because she's good at that. So those are the things where it's just perfect opposites attract.
That's great. That's great. Have you ever read Rocket Fuel?
No.
Oh, you should. It's
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, you're living it actually, but it's actually an excerpt from the book Traction, and it talks about effective partnerships and having like the
Oh,
innovator and the what is the other one? One is the visionary, and the other one is the I'm drawing a blank on the other thing, but the integrator, that's what it is. So the visionary and the
okay.
integrator, or just having those opposites, and that's what really really helps. Like what they
Yes.
call rocket fuel is letting that business really really take off when
I
you have.
love that.
Yeah, so
Oh, then
you're
we got
living it
rocket
and you
fuel.
spoke it. That's really awesome. Okay, so we have a few minutes left here. One thing I want to do is this rapid fire question
Okay.
and answer. Okay. So it's
All
2
right.
minutes. Man, I've yet to stick to 2 minutes because I get so interested in the questions that I'm like, I want to know the answers to the questions, but I'm
All right,
trying
we'll
to
try our best.
yeah, I'm going to try to keep it at 2 minutes and actually
Okay.
do it. So, okay. Okay, so we are entering our rapid fire segment. Until I get a twist associated name to categorize it, it's just going to be called rapid fire.
I like
2
it.
minutes with Jackie McMahan, and here we go. What's the best smell in the world?
Peonies.
What is
It's
that?
a flower.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a flower.
Okay.
I know you thought I was going to go food, right?
What's the worst smell in the world?
Oh, God, bad breath.
Yeah, okay.
It's my biggest pet peeve.
What is your signature cocktail?
I make incredible Earl Grey martinis. I infuse gin with Earl Grey tea, and it is the most amazing cocktail I make.
Interesting. What is the ugliest vegetable?
I think they're all beautiful, even the ugly ones.
Okay.
I don't have an ugly vegetable. I really don't.
Okay. What
A
is
lychee, then maybe.
What was
It's
it?
a fruit. It's maybe a lychee, but it's a fruit.
Okay.
Maybe that's the ugliest.
Okay. What is your version of there are two types of people in this world?
Oh my God. The motivated and the unmotivated.
What's your favorite meal of the day?
Dinner.
Is there an appliance that you can't live without?
Oh man, my espresso maker. I am a big coffee drinker.
What would be your go-to dish for a dinner party at home?
Ooh, maybe my Dover sole.
Say it again.
My Dover sole.
Okay.
So
if you could learn any language fluently, what would it be?
Italian. Hands down Italian.
What is your least favorite chore?
Dusting. I hate dusting.
How often do you look at your phone every day?
I'm on my phone all day.
Okay.
I'm a business owner. It just is what it is.
Do you lick your plate after your meal?
No, my dogs do.
Nice. Okay. So we just went over just a little bit over 2 minutes, but I felt like it wouldn't be great if I didn't ask the lick the plate question. That was sort of like okay. So just a tad bit over 2 minutes, but
Awesome. Good job. Woo. High five.
that was fun. That was fun. Okay. So, now you guys can go to her Instagram. Jackie, can you tell us where to find you? Website, Instagram. What's the best place for people to look for you or Finesse?
Absolutely. So my personal Instagram is Little Chef Jackie, LIL Chef Jackie. But please follow Finesse to see all the food and all the beautiful things we do. That is Finesse Catering and Events. Our website is finessecateringandevents.com.
Okay, awesome.
So check us out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. So make sure you guys check out the website and the Instagram and everything, and wait till you see the images of this food, guys. I'm telling you, it's freaking awesome.
Thank you.
So Jackie,
yes.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, and we will talk again soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. I love the twist life.